So I never used to see this at my local thrift stores. And, I've been selling from thrift stores on eBay and Amazon for probably close to 8-9 years now. And what I'm noticing now is there's people who are literally hang out there all day long, mostly in the clothing niche. And I've noticed it's the younger generation. We have a couple guys probably in their early 20s who will literally hang out at Savers all day long, just waiting for the clothing racks to come out. And it's funny because I never used to see this 6, 7, 8 years ago. Now, if you go sourcing at like the Goodwill outlets or the Goodwill bins, as we call it, you'll see people there all day long because there's such a mass amount of, a mass quantity of inventory that's coming and going, and there's just a lot of money to be made. Not saying you can't make money at normal thrift stores as well. I don't even go to the Goodwill bins that often because it's 45 minutes away from me, but it's very interesting. I'm noticing a lot younger of a demographic who are sourcing and flipping from thrift stores, and they're hungry and they'll stay there all day long. I mean, it's crazy. Like, the thrift store prices have gone up so much. I remember when t-shirts were 99 cents, dress shirts were $3.99, you get blazers and sport coats for $6.99. I mean, it's 5 to 10 times more expensive now at these thrift stores. And that's besides the point, but it's just interesting to see how hungry some resellers are. And it really, it should make us want to step up our game, because I mean, especially if you're in your 30s, 40s, and 50s. I don't know. I don't feel the same as when I was in my 20s versus, I'm about to turn 35 on May 29th. Yes, happy birthday to myself. But, it pushes me to step up my game, to creatively think of ways to source inventory, to have inventory come to me. And it's just interesting. Like, I never used to see people sitting there all day long at the thrift stores waiting. Like, if I was a full-time clothing seller now, and I wanted to make a full-time income in my local area, I don't know if I can compete. The great thing about reselling is you can get inventory from so many different places. But I'm curious, have you noticed this? And I'm not talking about the Goodwill bins, but have you noticed that just normal thrift stores, normal where they bring stuff out and put it on the shelves, I'm not talking about the bins. Have you noticed a lot of people, especially the younger demographic, just hanging out all day long? I think a lot of these younger guys and girls, I've seen mostly guys doing it. I've seen a lot of women though, scanning books, which is fantastic. But I noticed a lot of younger guys, they'll just sit there all day long. And I think they've realized, I'd rather just sit here all day long and try to find a gem that I could flip for $100 to $200 instead of having to go work at, a shoe store or Vans, or maybe, I don't know, wherever you're going to work, at a restaurant, and make minimum wage. Like, I'll just hang out here all day long and I have my freedom. I could work when I want. I could, I don't have to have a boss, freaking lingering down my throat and whatnot. So it's just very, very interesting. I've just noticed that, there are people out there who are hungry, who are hustling, who are really trying to make it happen. And we've got to make sure to step up our game as resellers, right? If you're younger, obviously you got that youth, you got that hunger, you got that push, you got that drive. You don't necessarily have the experience, but I'll tell you, in this reselling game, I think hunger and just the willingness to work, you'll make a lot more money than a lot of these older heads who are just, thinking their shit don't stink and, thinking they could just go out once or twice a week. I'm not saying you can't make money going out once or twice a week, but yeah, it's just very interesting. I've noticed it. If you have, a couple people who are just hanging out all day long at your local thrift store, and you're like, what the heck? Like, I'm a full-time clothing seller. Now I got these guys and girls hanging out here all day long, and they're rushing to the racks, and they're quick, and they're hanging out all day long. What should I do? Honestly, I would learn about more niches. There's so many different niches at a thrift store. I mean, there's books, there's shoes, there's glassware, there's all types of different things that you can flip at thrift stores. There's puzzles, there's board games, there's scarves, and I've noticed that a lot of at least in my area, the couple guys who were hanging out there all day long, they're mostly going after vintage t-shirts. There was a guy that I met a couple days ago. What's his name? I think Brian. Shout out to Brian if you're watching. He's always giving Mama Prophet a lot of love as well. But what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, he found this old Apple Mac vintage t-shirt, and I mean, it was going for like a couple $100, and I was like, man, like, yeah, it's pretty interesting. So with that being said, guys, let me know what your thoughts are down below. Much love, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.